Welcome back to our Psalms of Histories series. On Sunday, we've been looking at 1 Samuel chapter 24, which is an amazing chapter. In fact, it's one of the most notable, most famous chapters within the entirety of 1 Samuel. And it's this story of David. He's been on the run from Saul. He comes down to En-Gedi, this desert oasis. It's a place that he can take refuge. There's while it's desert land, it is an oasis with waterfalls and natural springs. It's a great place to lay low. There's a food source, there's a water source, and there's a cave structure that would allow David a place to escape the heat of the day, but also a defensive place, a place that he could hide out. Saul had to leave the area of Maon to deal with an incursion by the Philistines. Once that incursion had been dealt with, Saul then picks back up his pursuit of David. Word has gotten to Saul that David is down in this region, and so he gets a couple thousand commandos. They go down to the area. They're hunting for David. David gets word. Saul's in the area. They hide in this cave in En-Gedi. Saul, as they're passing by, unaware that David and his men are in the back recesses of this cave, he takes a pit stop. He goes into the cave to relieve himself. It's quite comical, actually. If you've ever gone from the brilliance of the noonday light entering into a dark cave, you can't see into the back of it. And Saul's completely unaware that there's David and his warriors in the back of this cave. They see Saul. Saul doesn't see them. Saul is in a very vulnerable position. He's relieving himself. He's taken off his robes. He's assumed the squatting position. And David's men are like, David, this is your opportunity. I mean, clearly, this is God giving you a chance to take care of Saul, to take the throne, to put an end to this craziness that we've been experiencing. David pulls out his dagger. He's approaching Saul, but in the process, David would declare, I can't, who am I to strike the Lord's anointed? God's in control. If God doesn't want Saul to be king, then God can handle that. I don't need to do that. He is still my king and will be my king until God deals with the situation. I am not the person to take Saul's life. And so he gets closer, and instead of killing Saul, cuts a hem of his garment. Even then, as Saul leaves, David feels like he's committed a crime against Saul, that he's overstepped his bounds and authority. And so he comes out and he calls to Saul. And there's this beautiful exchange. That exchange results in Saul weeping, and there seems to be this great maybe potential reconciliation moment. But then the chapter ends kind of odd. It seems like everything's good. Saul's like, you'll be king. I'll stop pursuing you. Saul goes back to the palace, but then we're told that David goes to strongholds. David takes everything that Saul says with a measure of like a grain of salt, some trepidation. Again, is there any depth to these words? Are these words empty? Come to find out, this was a good move by David, because it's 2 chapters later, Saul's right back pursuing David's life. But it's in this experience that I think David writes 2 different psalms that we're going to look at very quickly here. The first one's lengthy. Second one's a little shorter. Again, our intention's not to do a verse-by-verse analysis, but just to gain a bit of David's heart, his emotion in the experience. Psalm 35. It's titled, "The Lord, the Avenger of His People." It is in the classification of imprecatory psalms. It is a psalm of David. It's titled. It begins, "Plead my cause, O Lord, with those who strive against me. Fight against those who fight against me. Take hold of shield and buckler, and stand up for my help, and draw out the spear, and stop those who pursue me. Say to my soul, I am your salvation." God, you have to deal with this. It's not my responsibility. "Let those be put to shame and brought to dishonor who seek after my life. Let those be turned back and brought to confusion who plot my hurt. Let them be like chaff before the wind, and let the angel of the Lord chase them. Let their way be dark and slippery, and let the angel of the Lord pursue them. For without cause they have hidden their net for me in a pit, which they have dug without cause for my life. Let destruction come upon him unexpectedly." Again, David not taking action against Saul, but you really very much get his heart of hey, I'm not doing anything. But God, it's like any day now, like I won't be upset if you take action. Let his net that he has hidden catch himself. Into that very destruction, let him fall. My soul shall be joyful in the Lord. It shall rejoice in his salvation. All my bones, my being, shall say, Lord, who is like you, delivering the poor from him who is too strong for him? Yes, the poor and the needy from him who plunders him. Fierce witnesses rise up. They ask me things I do not know. They reward me evil for good, to the sorrow of my soul. But as for me, when they were sick, my clothing was sackcloth. I humbled myself with fasting. My prayer would return to my own heart. I paced about as though he were my friend or brother. I bowed down heavily as one who mourns for his mother. When my enemy, when ill came upon them, I interceded on their behalf. But in my adversary, verse 15, they don't do the same. They rejoiced and gathered together. Attackers gathered against me, and I did not know it. They tore at me and did not cease. With ungodly mockers at feasts, they gnashed at me with their teeth. Lord, how long will you look on? How long is this going to go on? How long are you going to allow this to continue? This is what he's saying. And then he lays out his plea, his heart, rescue me from their destructions, my precious life from the lions. I will give you thanks in the great assembly. I will praise you among many people. Let them not rejoice over me who are wrongfully my enemies, nor let them wink with the eye who hate me without cause. For they do not speak peace, but they devise deceitful matters against the quiet ones in the land. They have also opened their mouth wide against me and have said, aha, aha, our eyes have seen it. Maybe this is the expression of David's a bit of distrust from the words that Saul has spoken to him. This you have seen, O Lord, do not keep silent. O Lord, do not be far from me. Stir up yourself and awaken to my vindication, to my cause, my God and my Lord. Vindicate me, O Lord my God, according to your righteousness. Again, not according to David's personal righteousness, but again, appealing to the nature of God, of always being righteous, of doing the right thing all the time. Let them not rejoice over me. Let them not say in their hearts, so we would have it. Let them not say, we have swallowed him up. Let them be ashamed and brought to mutual confusion who rejoice at my hurt. Let them be clothed with shame and dishonor who exalt themselves against me. Let them shout for joy and be glad who favor my righteous cause. Exalt my friends, those seeking my favor. Let them say continually, let the Lord be magnified, who has pleasure in the prosperity of his servant. And my tongue shall speak of your righteousness and of your praise all the day long. Oh man, I would have loved to have heard those words put to tune and sung there in En-Gedi. Another psalm, I think, very potentially a reflection, insight into David's heart while these things were happening. Psalm 58. The heading here is the just judgment of the wicked. Again, it's an imprecatory psalm appealing to God as his defender. We're told it's to the chief musician. It's set to a tune. The tune is Do Not Destroy, a miktam of David. Again, 11 verses. We'll work our way through. David sings. He says, do you indeed speak righteousness, you silent ones? Do you judge uprightly, you sons of men? No, in heart you work wickedness. You weigh out the violence of your hands in the earth. There are those, he says, that appear righteous, that appear to judge uprightly, but these people, they're posers. They're pretenders. In their heart, they work wickedness, violence. Verse 3, he says, the wicked are estranged from the womb. They go astray as soon as they are born, speaking lies. Their poison is like the poison of a serpent. They're like deaf cobras that stops the ear, which will not heed the voice of charmers, charming ever so skillfully. These people, they were out of the womb, they were born wicked, with ill intent in their hearts. So now he gets, and again, we don't have too many worship songs in our modern context that reflect this appeal to the Lord, this plea before God. Verse 6, David, he sings, there's probably like a double kick drum happening in the back. He says, break their teeth in their mouth, O God. Break out the fangs of the young lions, O Lord. Let them flow away as waters, which run continually. When he bends his bow, let his arrow be as if it cuts in pieces. Let them be like a snail, which melts away as it goes, like a stillborn child of a woman, that they might not see the sun. I mean, that is that is a heavy chorus to the Lord. But there's the true human emotions of what David is going through and what he's experiencing. I mean, he's angry. Anger is a justified emotional response to injustice or wickedness, evil. And yet, David's not taking matters into his own hands. Quite the contrary. He's taking his thoughts and his feelings, he's taking them to the Lord. I'm sure David would have loved to have broken their teeth in their mouth on his own. But he appeals to the Lord to act on his behalf. I like the line. Let them be like a snail which melts away as it goes. Years ago, we were in Washington as I was a kid, and we went to the Washington coast right there where the Columbia River dumps into the Pacific, right, with Oregon. And my aunt has a beach house, and one day we were there, and they had these banana slugs that just came out in full force. I mean, they were everywhere, these big old jokers. And like with a slug or a snail, maybe it's twisted, but as any boy or kid would do, you take some salt and you salt those snails and you watch them just shrivel up. They stop moving. They die. That's what David's asking God to do against his enemies. And then like a stillborn child that never gets out of the womb, never sees the sun, that's what he's asking God to do. Cut these people off. He closes out verse 9. He says, before your pots can feel the burning thorns, he shall take them away as with a whirlwind. As in his living and burning wrath, the righteous shall rejoice when he sees the vengeance. He shall wash his feet in the blood of the wicked, so that men will say, surely there is a reward for the righteous. Surely he is God who judges in the earth. I think one of the things that's a great comfort to anyone dealing with wickedness, evil, ill intent, perversity, unfairness, is that in the end of it all, like at the end of the story, God takes vengeance on the wicked. That nobody gets away with anything in the end. That if you get to the end of the story, you get to the final few chapters of the book of Revelation, you see the end of history. No evil man gets away with his deeds. That God will right wrongs, and he will dole out justice as only he can. Jesus will come, his second coming, riding on a white stallion. There at the Battle of Armageddon, and he'll slay the wicked to the point that the blood of Megiddo, it will rise up to the horse's bridle, that Jesus will have at the bottom of his robe will be stained crimson from the blood of the wicked. Like that is, I know you don't want to be on the receiving end of that, but I think for the family of God, for those dealing and enduring this fallen world that we live in, that there is something, I think, notable and okay, taking heart, being encouraged, that even though it might look like on the surface that your enemies are getting away with their wickedness, that they won't in the end. That all rights, all wrongs will be righted. And this is where David in these imprecatory Psalms is coming back to, that in the end, God will take care of it. And we don't have to, and we can place our trust in him. Well, thank you for joining me for these Psalms of Histories. If you've liked them, these two related to 1 Samuel chapter 24, you can go to our website, calvary316.tv/histories. On that page, you'll find all of these Psalms connected to the Bible study that tells the story that David would then take out pen and instrument to write a song, giving us insight into what his experiences were. So thanks for joining me. Look forward to seeing you again.